Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Get There podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Klein. I am here today with an amazing husband and wife team, the Altenhofs, and they are with the Altenhof agency with Goosehead, and they are an insurance broker here in Brevard County. I actually have all of my personal insurance policies with them, and they're awesome. I work with them every single day in my business, so I really wanted to highlight them here because I have worked with Ryan since 2017 when I first got started. Is that when you first got started?
It was.
All right. I was thinking we were both started at the same time. So if you guys want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you. And
well, I'm Jordan.
I'm Ryan. Goosehead Insurance.
Yes.
I'm glad you know who you are today, right?
We are a personal lines insurance agency, so we don't do business, but we do all personal lines, and we like to say that we tailor our whole process to the home closings. So we know what to do when it comes to quoting for home purchasing and refinancing and all the things.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's our system is built for the home closing. DTI issues, same day, effective date changes, we do our best there. If you need a quote rushed, we're happy to do that. But yeah, we've tailored our system for the home closing. Obviously, we want to get as much auto insurance and umbrella business and flood as possible, but our main focus is home insurance and helping our partners close the deal.
Yeah, taking care of the lenders and the realtors. The rest can come later is kind of how we do things.
Absolutely. And you know me, as far as us working with each other, that's how I work too. But one thing about Ryan and Jordan is if you need anything done, say we have a debt to income ratio issue with a client and it's Saturday and they want to put in an offer, I know I can call Ryan or Jordan. I'm going to get the answer, be able to get the numbers to them. So they work like I work, which is why I love them so much and can totally sing their praises all the time. So, okay, so going back to 2017, getting started, like what made you pick insurance as a career? It's not the sexiest career, just like lending isn't the sexiest career either.
It's not sexy, but it's never boring.
Yep.
I mean, the short version, nobody picks insurance because they love insurance.
Yep.
I mean, they do it because they got to make money or something forced them to. But what happened is I was a school teacher for 5 years. And then in that fourth year, we had our second kid on the way.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at it, and I'm just looking at how much is coming in as far as money comes, and I was just like, this is not going to work out. As much as I like teaching and coaching basketball, I had to figure something out that was going to allow me to jump into something that I could earn as much as I wanted to earn. Year over year, I could earn more, and it didn't really require some like special degree or something because I wasn't about to go back to school or anything like that.
Yep.
And I had a friend that worked at a state farm in Jacksonville, and he said he'd put a good word in for me. And when that agent up there told me how it worked, I was all about it.
Was Primerica before or after that? When did we get introduced to the life insurance?
That was before.
Yeah.
So
we actually had a Primerica agent come into our home. That's how they do their sales.
Yep.
And he...
Life insurance.
We didn't... Oh my gosh, we carried 10-20-10 on our auto insurance. We didn't understand insurance before this. It was not something we had a background in, but they came into the house to kind of educate us a little bit on what we needed for life insurance. And that's where he really got the whole, okay, you can sell something and make money on it the next year and make money on it the next year. And I think it opened his eyes a little bit. And then I think State Farm came in, and I was just staying home with the babies then.
Yeah.
But it was super difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, so my hat's off to people with kids and everything, especially trying to make it happen, but it was so difficult. I mean, we didn't have enough money for bills.
Yeah, on a teacher salary. So it's just something that's so crazy because we basically have the exact same story. I was a teacher for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So I learned something new about you today that we have in common, and that's basically, I actually ended up leaving and went and got my master's degree while I was staying home with my son. And in that time period, when I came back, they did away with tenure, they did away with pension, so every incentive to be in public service, and I was going to have to start at the bottom scale again because I didn't stay for the 3 years before, and I was like, I'm not going to do this and make $36,000 a year at $100K in student loan debt. I got to make a game plan. So that's super awesome to learn that about you, that we have that in common too. But yeah, it's so hard. It's a shame what we pay our teachers here, especially in Florida and especially in Brevard County, not to throw our county under the bus, but we have some of the lowest paid teachers in the country here in this county. So hopefully that changes and and they can attract new teachers too. So
Yeah, for sure.
all right, perfect. So journey started with State Farm, and so can you just kind of tell me that transition of working for a big name brand company? I know people get comfortable with like it's easy to sell the name State Farm, and then transitioning into
A not so known name.
It was
and doing
difficult,
your own thing by
for sure.
yourself.
Yeah,
too.
because we were one of the original Goosehead agencies in Florida. So people are like, Goosehead, Gooseneck, what? So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did you
even
get
the
into that?
transition was difficult for sure. And I mean, going from State Farm, we had call-ins.
Yeah.
People are calling in.
You didn't have to do too much footwork.
And so went from that to Goosehead's model was like, hey, maybe you should work with some lenders and realtors and see if you can't help out with their process. And initially, I was not about the game.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to cold call 200 people a day and ask if they want to shop their auto insurance, because I had no issue picking up the phone and calling people nonstop. And then after about 4 months, probably, and I was looking at the bills were still there. I had to pay office rent. We were paying all of this. And I was like, this is not working.
Yeah.
Well, I come from a marketing background. I worked for a commercial real estate firm in Jacksonville.
Oh.
So the business to me made sense. I didn't like the whole cold calling thing. No one likes that, but I had to get used to that. But to me, it made sense. It's like, well, yeah, working with partners is going, instead of working with one client at a time, you are working with partners who are, entrust you to take care of their clients. They're going to send you multiple leads. To me, it was genius.
Yeah.
When I sat down with Goosehead and like their whole model, I was like, it sat well with me. But yeah, him coming from State Farm, where it's all inbound, like all your advertising is a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you don't have to necessarily market. They're doing all that for you. Your whole job is to sell. So that's why this job is never boring, because our job is not just to sell. Our job is to have relationships and be out in the community and do all that type of thing. So to me, it made sense.
Yeah. And it also, when you're not on a commercial all the time, right? You're not in a big name. You also, like, the mindset is you don't deserve anything. Like, you don't deserve anything, so you can't take your foot off the gas for any reason, way, shape, or form. In my opinion, you have to keep being out there. You have to keep working hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is difficult, but I feel like once you kind of establish a reputation, it's almost just as hard keeping it.
Yeah.
Yes.
In many cases.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I love everything you said, and that's the things people will tell me, like, like, you're already, like, at the top, like, you can, like, chill out now, and it's like, no, there's always someone younger, hungrier, me 7 years ago, ready to take my spot, so I get up every day and show up, and that's what you have to do when you're self-employed, and that's what we are, we're business owners here, so just keeping that hustle, I can stop my hustle when I die,
For sure.
or ready to retire, which won't be for very long, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is it's what we do in the real estate business and doing business to business is it's not just the job we do, like quoting insurance policies. We're marketers. We now have to do social media. Like there's so many hats that you have to wear, and it's unbelievable. And I think that's just taking that into consideration, and especially when you're first starting out, when you're trying to juggle all of these things, obviously as you grow, which we'll talk about your guys' growth, which has been awesome to see and watch. And we've had many conversations about, the hurdles that come with it, but it just, at least gets a little bit easier when you can delegate out some of those responsibilities to other people. So, okay. So we go from kind of Ryan, because I didn't meet you, Jordan, until probably like 2 years in.
Yeah. So I was always kind of there behind the scenes, supporting him, but we still had little ones. Like when we launched Goosehead, Birdie was 4. So, he only went to preschool 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a picture on our Instagram of when I got my own little unit in the dentist building. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was actually,
I
remember.
was super excited for myself then, because I wanted to have a family and kids and everything, but I don't know, I'd been doing it for like 7 years at that point, and I was like, I got my own office, but that was like our first step to growth. But yeah, I kind of came in, but I was behind the scenes doing some of the calling, getting documents, doing a lot of the little things, just kind of supporting him. But yeah, a lot of just the beginning, the grind, the like unknown, it was all him in the beginning. So
Yeah. He's definitely a grinder. I always
Yeah, you
enjoyed working with him. And it's funny, though, because it goes like I always knew Ryan, and now I feel like, no offense to Ryan, but I feel like Goosehead is synonymous with Jordan, and that's who you think of now because she's done just such a great job getting herself out there and marketing and all of that good stuff. So for you, what are you doing as being a business to business? You know, because I do think we're there for business to consumer. It's easy to, once they're already our client, to keep in touch with them and cultivate that relationship for that business. But primarily, we're working on cultivating relationships with real estate agents, title companies, lenders, that type of thing. So what do you think is what works best for you as far as marketing and getting your name out there? Because it did go from hardly anyone knowing you, and then now, like, I think if people think insurance here in the real estate industry, they think of you.
I'm actually going to chalk this up to our team. When we brought on Jessica, Jessica really got us marketing more than ever before. Because like before COVID, it was so busy. The market was so huge at that time.
You didn't need to do
We didn't
anything.
need to market.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit and no one left their house. It was slammed. Like you were just trying to get deals done.
Yeah.
And then kind of after that was when the market kind of insurance market went down a little bit. And about that time is when Jessica came on and we started to grow a little bit. And she really kind of pushed us to market more, I would say. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, she liked doing the face-to-face marketing.
She did. She gave us ideas. She's got a lot of already established relationships in the community because she grew up here. Yeah. She worked at one of the restaurants, but just having those relationships alone helped a lot. But it kind of reinvigorated us to kind of really come up with new ideas, new marketing ideas, new tactics, get out there, and it expanded our relationships within the real estate community. So I will chalk that up to our team. And then as we've brought on more people and grew our team, that same thing has happened with each of them. Wouldn't you say so?
It has, yeah. I'd say for the most part, yeah. But when you have to go into a room where you don't know people,
yeah,
and people get to watch someone that's able to go around and meet new people, and it doesn't have a problem with it, like how Jordan does it. It's definitely makes it easier.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to kind of set your feelings aside. You have to walk in there and be, I have anxiety. Like I walk into a room, I have tons of anxiety. But the business is more than me. My team is more than me. So I want to represent us well. And I think ultimately you know me because I had partners in crime to go out and have fun doing it. And I think who you work with and who your team is what makes you shine.
Yep.
And I was much more comfortable going out and doing those things and building those relationships because I felt like I had a solid team that I worked with that represented us well.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think Jessica did bring, it's just even having someone not saying like we're old, but someone younger who gets you out of your comfort zone to do those things on social media and all
new
that. Because it's like,
fresh.
Oh, I don't want to do any of these things. But yeah, they definitely help you. I even know, I brought my daughter on and she goes everywhere with me and she's my partner in crime and helps me do all of those things. So it really does help to keep you motivated to do those things that are super important.
Same to Laura, because Laura came in and she wanted to join the groups, SCAR and the Women's Council, and we built the business doing something one way and just being open to new ideas. She's done such a good job with her own ideas. Just kind of listening to all the different ideas, I think, has gotten us where we are.
Yeah. And it's things that you wouldn't think about doing. And then what's great about the team, everybody's comfortable in a different kind of setting. Like you have one that loves the groups and creating community within those groups and creating that referral source, like in a BNI or Women's Council. Then you have some that like to, attend the events and talk to everybody there. So that's great. And that is, you don't always think outside of, cold calling or.
Yeah, we built what we built doing it our way. So to kind of step back and be like, well, maybe your way could work too. You know what I mean? Like just listening to those ideas, I genuinely believe helped us get where we are.
Yeah.
It's going to help keep projecting us, I hope.
Yeah. And there's a lot of solid insurance offices.
Yes.
Locally, Central Florida, and they're always just trying to get after it as well.
Yeah.
So like that, like you said, it helps you get up in the morning earlier.
Yeah.
And to just keep going and,
Do the hustle.
Keep getting after it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think you guys do the best job here, especially with marketing. I know you're pretty much involved in any event I'm involved with. And
I appreciate
know
that.
You're my first one that I call.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I won't say no.
With someone. So it definitely helps just even having like partners that you can rely on and know they're going to show up and know that they're going to equally participate with you. But I do think you guys do a good job of getting involved with so many, because it is like you're involved with everything. And that's what I always tell people, even when I'm talking to other loan officers, when they're like, what can I do? And I'm like, just be everywhere all the time, or at least make it look like you are, and you know, post frequently, tell people what you're doing, show up every day, and really that's it. Is I don't really say no to too much if something comes my way.
Support everyone you can that, you know, you want to work with and be seen with. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I know we've had many over the years as you guys have been growing. So we started off with just Ryan. You kind of joined in. Now we have a team of 7.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. And I know that's just grown in the last year from, you know, just Jessica to 7. That's incredible. And I've met a lot of them on your team, and they're all just, I love them all. All of them are great vibes, so.
Super, super awesome people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and we only have to do sales. We only have to hire salespeople. So we're all sales agents. Goosehead does the service in the back. So that it is difficult to find good salespeople.
Yes.
But and in the beginning, when we first started trying to do this, it was not good.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a system. I was basically just like, all right, come on, and like, good luck out there.
Yeah.
Like, make it happen.
Yeah.
And it just it wasn't good for anyone. If you were with us early on, no longer, sorry about that. Didn't have a system. But over the years, we started figuring out how to make it easier for people to get ramped up, helping people along, and just being available and being in the office every single day.
Yep. I'm a firm believer in that. People who work from home or even though it's a strictly commission job, or, you know, you get out what you put in, and I'm a very much go into the office every single day. I'm going to treat it like it's my 9 to 5, and that's what I do, because I feel like when you don't, and you're not in, and you're not giving it your all every single day, the results speak for themselves. You know, you're not going to be as successful. So I think I love that you had that point of going into the office every day, because a lot of people don't treat it that way, and it needs to be. Like, it's even high producing real estate agents. I talk with them, and they're, you know, that's one of the common things is I put in 9 hours a day. Like, I'm calling my past clients. Like, I'm doing that. It's not just like, oh, if my phone rings. Like, I'm working towards it every single day, and I have office hours. So I love that point. So, and I know just, you know, even as I've been growing my team, we would have conversations, because it is really hard to say, okay, I like this person, but then the person that they present themselves in the interview versus who actually shows up at the job every day is completely different. And I think as I've changed like what I ask people, how I'm asking them questions during the interview process. But I'm also one that's, you know, slow to hire, quick to fire. Like, if it's not working, like, it's not working. I don't want to waste anyone's time if it's just not going to be a fit. And then that I'm usually that like 3-month, you know, time frame. Like, if you can't get it in that 3 months, like, it's not for me and it's not for you, and move on. You guys feel like it's the same?
I feel like we've had discussions about this, and I feel like you really start to see a person's true nature and true effort, and just right about the 90-day mark. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's like a habitual thing. People just get comfortable.
And I definitely think the people is all that matters, especially in a situation like ours where you're doing sales. There's no like tangible object or anything like that you're selling, but it is 100% the people that all that matters, because like I said, early on our process sucked. It was terrible. Yeah. And Jessica was one of the first people that we brought on, and regardless of how bad our process was, she still was going out there and making it happen. Now, process matters for sure, especially to get people ramped up, but it just proved more to the point that if you have good people, it would just work out. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's definitely difficult to find good people. We've been super fortunate with the people we have right now are awesome, but I also switched to thinking, how can I help make this person get to the next level? Yeah. Versus, why are you not at the next level? Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you out there doing whatever? Yeah. How can we get you to the next level? What are you really wanting to get? Like, you want to buy a new house, you want a new car, Are you wanting to get this or get that? Like helping people get to whatever they're trying to get to.
Yeah. I do think in sales it takes a certain type of personality. Like it is, anyone can get out of their comfort zone and do it, but you got to have that drive to get up and put yourself out there. It can be, I'm one of the most confident people, but this job and having to basically go sell yourself to everybody to get referral business can really just mess with your mind.
Yes.
and make you self-conscious, even if that's not your tendency. So you really just gotta have that motivation. And I think just even what you said of giving them a goal, what it is do you want to accomplish? Do you want to provide an awesome life for your child? Buy a new car or whatever it be, and keep that in mind to keep people going and motivated. It sounds terrible, and like I said earlier when we were talking before we started, that I don't like motivational quotes, but I'm just a very self-disciplined person, and my motivation is I want to be the best of the best. That is what motivates me every day. It's not really material objects. I just want to show up. So like I said, it's a personality trait that for your employees that are sales, and the moment I met Jessica, you can almost just tell, okay, they got it, they're going to do great, or when they come on and they're great for a month.
Yeah.
And then by month 3, they've lost that motivation to keep going. So what you keep talking about changes that you made in your process. So what changes did you make that you feel made the most impactful difference?
It would be from literally no process.
Yeah.
To not asking any questions, not learning about the person that is going to be working alongside us, to figuring out what they want, what they like, having a daily, I would say, checklist that they can accomplish for at least the first 90 days.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what you got to do. This is what's going to help you get to this next level. This is how many calls you have to make. This is how many visits you have to make. This is how many people you have to talk to. This is how many quotes it's going to take to sell this X amount of dollars. Having all of that written down and explained. And then I think the biggest thing too, though, was just helping them get whatever they're wanting to get to.
Yeah.
And people, like you said, definitely have to have a want factor.
Yeah.
Your want factor has to be more than any other factor. Because if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. But having people with the want factor and what is the reason? Why? Why are you wanting this? Yeah. How bad do you want this? And the want factor and good people are.
Because what motivates people goes beyond wanting to pay their bills. Usually it is for something.
For sure.
So just going back to your process, what we do with my team is we actually did All About You form too. Just so you can see what motivates them. But even when it's their birthday, okay, do they like Texas Roadhouse? I'm going to get them, whatever it is to learn more about them and just do special things for them. But even on this, it was questions what motivates you? And it's bonus, okay? But for another person, it's time off. So even just learning what makes them tick and doing special things for them and treating them like an individual. I know for me, it was super hard getting started because I'm just a driver. So it's do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's okay, you got to make work fun. You can't make it miserable all the time. People won't want to be around you. And that was such a big changing thing for me, just to make the office environment way more fun and friendly, and not because we work hard, so it's you want to reward people. I do lunches all the time for people. We do every 3 months we do some type of events because I have people that work from home, so I just like to do something nice for them and show that I appreciate the hard work that they do put in. So,
for sure.
Yeah, I think ultimately a person will be successful if they know what they want. The common denominator of all the people that haven't worked out working with us, one was our lack of process, but it was also they didn't know what they wanted. They didn't have a foundation. So they were just kind of trying to go through the day-to-day. But when you ask them hey, what matters to you? What do you have goals? What motivates you? They didn't know. And you have to know. In order for you to look for and find success, you have to know what that looks like to yourself.
Yeah.
What is in your head? What do you look like as a successful person? If you're just out going through the motions and you don't have a successful version of yourself in your head, what are you working towards?
Yeah.
And I think it takes time to figure out what that is. It's hard for a 23-year-old to really know that about themselves. Some do. I mean, some 18-year-olds do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a rare find, especially in sales. So ultimately I think that's what it is just really getting to know the person, like you're saying, like know them well enough to know if they know what they want for themselves.
Yeah, I love that. Although I always joke, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So it's always ever changing and evolving, which is awesome. So just from you guys, like what did that scaling of the business look like for you? So how did you know, okay, it's time to bring on other salespeople, or like when do you know it's the right time to bring someone else onto the team?
I want to push the envelope.
Yeah.
So it's the moment you have the capital to bring someone else on, as long as revenue's going up, culture's good, everyone likes each other, let's go, let's roll. Let's find another person that's going to fit. Now and then I've never been here before, and we're going into places we've never been. Yeah. So like I can't speak like surely of this, but it feels as though you want to keep good culture, and you want to keep everything going up. But I think then it becomes a point where like, is this person going to fit in with everyone?
Yeah.
Like, we want to make sure everyone's on the same page. You don't want everyone to be cookie cut and be the same person. Like you need some people to come in and
do different things, because otherwise I feel like they'll end up trying to work with the same people. So how do you navigate that? Because that's the one thing when you're sales and no matter what, we're a big county, but the real estate business is pretty small. So how do you guys, make sure that they're not stepping on each other's toes and trying to go after the same type of referral business?
We're not tied just to Brevard. So we can insure the whole state. So a big thing we say is, you don't have to stay in Brevard. You can be calling and building relationships outside of our county. Yeah. So that's a huge thing. But ultimately right now we're at a place where like everybody's just different enough. Like if, a partner doesn't like the way Ryan does something or doesn't like the way I do it, or Jessica, they now have options, which I think is great. There's no two people the same that we're working with, but I think we all have the same work ethic. Like we all want to work hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not tied just to Brevard. So as we grow, they can kind of go outside. You can go as far as Pensacola. I'm licensed in Georgia. Yeah. There's all kinds of things that we can be doing to continue growing, and there's plenty of real estate in Florida. Yeah. And we also, I think we counted today, we're at like 4,300 active policies, and all those need an auto policy. All those need an umbrella policy. You know what I mean? Yeah. They all need so there's tons of opportunity. So we have to have the time to be able to help our team. So we don't want to grow too fast where we're not available to help people, and then they don't succeed because we couldn't help or whatever. But we want to keep growing, right?
Yeah, keep it going.
I love that. So just kind of talking about the market, just because obviously it's all the talk. And, I think when we started the year, there was worry of how real estate was going to be going. And since you tie so into real estate, since that's your main focus is the home policies, are you guys up in business this year? I know I'm actually 30% higher in production than I was this time last year. So definitely a good indication of where things are going.
We are.
Yeah, we had the best month we've ever had last month.
I love that.
We're trying to rock and roll this month. But yeah, you just keep focusing on doing what you've been doing. But yeah, finding good people has been.
I would also say, you asked earlier what was a changing point in the way we market. I wanted to say real producers coming to town was another opportunity for us to organically meet people that I don't think we would have had the opportunity to meet. I'm sure you know this, but it's really hard to get in front of a high producing real estate agent. They don't sit at the office. Yeah. They're really hard to get in front of, and Aaron bringing that to the area kind of allowed that a little bit. And it was right after COVID, right? He was 2022.
Yes. Yeah.
When everybody started coming out.
I think he just mentioned it at the master class where he's coming up on year 3. So it's been 2.5 years. Yep.
So it was right about that time where we knew we needed to get out, because we had been working from home and working from the office. There was no marketing before that. It was really just word of mouth because it's such a small town. And then everything blew up with COVID and it got so busy. And then it kind of got to a point where you needed to market. Yeah. And he just came in right at that niche point, and it's been very useful for us, I would say. To have the opportunities with the parties and everything to meet people.
All right. Aaron's going to love this shout out for real producers.
Well, it's true. It was a really good timing for him for this area.
Yeah, I love it being involved in it. I think it's a great thing too, and great marketing for everybody. So, because Real Producers, I don't know if you know, but it's a national company. So every big city pretty much has a Real Producers in it. So each individually owned. But yeah, I think Aaron does a great job. So I enjoy it too, and I think it's been helpful for my business. So good job, Erin.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So kind of just moving in, where do you think, as far as like, what do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, what's your vision for Goosehead going forward? Do you want to go to 40 agents or?
He's our visionary here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, no, 5 years would be what? That'd be 2030. Yeah, by 2030, we're looking to be closing in on $100 million in annual premium. So that's annual premium. It's not what you get paid.
Yeah.
It's the size of office is how you kind of measure it. It's a huge goal, and it would be, it would likely look like at least, 25 salespeople.
I love
we want
that.
25 salespeople there at that point in time, but to keep growing and and I would think, you think about this area, the Space Coast, you want it to be like the next huge place where people live, where people want to raise a family.
Yep.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, you want to help your entire community.
Yeah.
You want to be like, oh, we're going to raise a family. This is the place that you want to be.
Yep.
The Space Coast. I believe that too.
Yeah, I always say we're turning into the new South Florida, which as a lifelong Brevard resident, I kind of hate, but obviously growth is good. I always was shocked how long it took Brevard to blow up. Like, we are such an ideal location of right on the beach. We have this space center. Like, what other place besides Texas and California do you have this space center? And we're so close to Orlando. I'm really shocked that it even took as long as it did to kind of be discovered here. But now we're discovered and we're growing like crazy. Yeah. So that's my only worry, is just getting super busy and congested. But obviously, if you're in the real estate business, it's good for business, and it's a good business to be in for that.
It is good. I hope it becomes the South Florida, but like more family.
Yeah, friendly.
The family spot.
I do think with Viera and stuff, I do feel like we are like a family destination for people and not like a party destination for people. Yeah. That's why when I hear all the projects that get approved for development, I'm like, oh, like the Margaritaville. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen.
That didn't happen, yeah.
So
we're getting Topgolf though.
I know, that's pretty cool. But look, that's like a family.
It is. I
mean, you do drink and play golf, but
you can do that with kids. It's fine.
Exactly. So that I am excited for Brevard, but just as a lifelong resident, a little bit sad. Okay, so as far as what I always like to have this conversation of, what are you guys doing now that you feel like a beginner at? Like, oh my God, like I have no clue what I'm doing.
Hiring and training and just, that's what when I go in every day, I'm excited to work and answer questions, and like you forget what it was like in the beginning, but working with people just coming up, like it keeps it fresh.
Yeah. I mean, it would definitely be, the next thing would be like helping other people become, like helping others become leaders.
Yes.
And I guess you're just helping people get to the next level of whatever level they're at. Yeah. People making sure that everyone is proud of who they are now versus like who they were 12 months ago. So like eventually it would be, helping people lead other people.
I love that. I love that. Your 12-month self being proud of what you've done in that last 12 months. That's super awesome. And I do feel like it's such a weird transition as you go through your career, especially as a business owner, when it comes, you start off so you focused, your production, you, and then as you grow and you're building a team, how it becomes, okay, how can I help all of these other people? And then it makes it even harder though, because it's like, you're the one who still has to produce and make sure you're paying everyone's bills. So I know for me, I just feel like such responsibility of, I'm helping everybody on my team, feed their family and put money on the table. And I just hope I'm doing it and guiding them in the right direction too. So such a responsibility to take on. So for your team, do you guys do like trainings? Like what are you doing for them to help develop them? And I know you said your checklist, but like, are we staying on trend? Do you have monthly meetings, weekly meetings? Like what are you doing for your team?
Yeah, weekly one-on-ones is what we do. That's the big focus. That. We do weekly one-on-ones every Tuesday, and that's the time to just go over different things. And just, it is difficult too, especially if you have people on different, different levels or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, because they are hired at different stages, so they're at different stages of their training. And Ryan does a bulk of the training, the most of it. I'll answer questions for things that we do. We do role play days where like we'll this is how you do this call, this is how you do this meeting, this is what you do when you go in this office.
Yeah, like overcoming objections and
all those different types of things. And then
the majority of it is the day-to-day, just being available.
Yeah.
To, like, if you hear something, hey, you said it this way, maybe you say it that way, or great job, that's exactly how I would have said it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then a check-in too. The one-on-one too is a check-in, like checks everyone's mentals, because I know, like, my thing is, like, after I'd say like 90 days, typically is when someone's like, I don't know if I am cut out for this.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, yeah, you are. You got to keep going.
Yeah,
This
we
is
all
normal.
feel this way, exactly. And I think that's the thing, is those thoughts, the doubt, is everybody goes through that. I remember the first time I made it to, like, the mortgage firm does this company trip to all the top producers. And I remember when I went there and I was talking to another top producer, and I'm like, I just don't feel like I belong here. Like, you guys are so great, and, like, I don't belong. And he looked at me, he's like, we all feel that way. Like, we all have imposter syndrome. Like, so, like, just keep believing in yourself, because you always feel, and it doesn't, especially if you're a driven person, the more you do, you tend to always set yourself higher and higher and higher. And that's one thing, is like telling myself or anyone that a real estate agent I'm talking to, like, enjoy your small wins. Like, my team, because we just crank it out and it's like the same thing over and over again, I'm like, since we always feel like we're like a spinning wheel, like, you got to celebrate the small wins. Oh, we overcame this appraisal issue. Like, oh, like, ring a bell, because it's like, otherwise you're just grinding and not appreciating anything that's happening in any of the results that you do, because there's always one behind it. Hopefully there's always one behind it. So
yeah, we've gone, Goosehead does the same thing. Once a year there's a President's Club trip is what they've called it, and I think we're going on our 4th one this year. And you can handle those trips, in my opinion, 2 ways. There's only 2 ways. You can have the imposter syndrome, which I get too, where you go and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm in this room full of people and they all have bigger agencies and they all have bigger books of business, and why would they want to be around me? What are they going to learn from me? What do I have to bring to the table? Or I can just choose to be grateful I have a seat at the table and can be a sponge, and just how awesome is it that I earned myself a seat here? There's just 2 ways to look at it, and I just have to kick myself and just be like, you're here, girl. You got to sit at this table. You got invited to this dinner. Absorb it, take it in. Like, you have something. You have something. Like, you got here doing something a different way than they did it. Bring what you got to the table. And I like going on the trips now, because I just choose to be grateful I'm there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them too, because not only that, it's almost like a camaraderie thing as well, of it's people from across the nation that are doing the same business. What are you experiencing in the market right now? Like, what is your issues that you're dealing with? Because it's so funny how you think, like, and issues seem like cyclical. If one thing happens, it's like it's happening all the time, and then a year from them, you're never having those issues anymore. And I'm, even though when insurance was going crazy and all of that. So what do you guys do as far as, like, looking at those issues? Because I'm all about, like, being proactive, not reactive. And when I start seeing patterns on things, I'm like, okay, why is this happening? Let's stay in front of it. I mean, I'm sure you guys have to experience that in insurance. So how do you guys, like, actually look at your business and figure out how, if you need to make changes based on things that are happening, how do you guys come to that decision?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely looking toward the next coming months.
Yeah.
And seeing, oh, is this going to be an issue? Is this not going to be an issue? Like, I know a lot of agents kind of minimize citizens, just because it is a real pain in the neck to do some citizens right now. They make you go through all these different systems.
Flood policies now on everything.
Flood. It's crazy. And we did not see, many times don't see it coming, but they do announce it a few months down the road. But I mean, we're still going to give it to people if it's the best option.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of seeing it, and then also, like, feeling out the insurance company themselves. The people they send to our offices, like, they'll send reps to be like, hey, sell our home insurance, and to feel them out and be like, do they seem like they're going to be responsive? Like, do they seem legitimate? And many times you can kind of gauge it on the people they send. When you call their underwriters, when you call their back office, like, are they responsive? Are they helpful?
Yeah, how that's going. And because that's going to be the client's experience too, once
Yeah.
they're not just with you. I feel like you guys always take care of the client up front though, even if it's already with the policy it's bound with, you're always going to help them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my own experience dealing
sure.
with you guys of like, hey, this person's running into issues. So as far as and we'll just talk a little shop if you don't mind, just because I'm interested in the answer. Do you feel like more because the issue's been no one wants to insure homes in Florida because of claims. Do you feel like more companies are coming back into Florida willing to do policies now?
I mean, as of right now, as long as some major storms don't hit the summer,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. But they've definitely, I think there's quite a few companies that have kind of maybe figured it out some way, shape, or form. They're adding these different things to their policies, like limiting water damage or some type of roof coverage.
Combination.
Some of them are turning into like exchanges, which
Yeah.
is like a weird thing. You can research on your own, but they've definitely figured ways out to be more profitable. Like, because more and more, I think more companies will come into Florida. I do.
Yeah.
I also think the ones that are here and have established themselves are definitely going to level out too. We're seeing that with renewals.
Yeah.
There are a couple companies
Yeah.
that have promised us they weren't going to crush people on renewals, and they're not. Like, we're seeing them come in
Instead
like,
of it
they're going up
going
$100,
up.
$200 instead of.
I've seen some go
2,000.
down.
Yeah.
I've seen some go down. Some
Yeah.
renewals have gone down. So that's promising. I personally think the next big hurdle for Florida is going to be flood insurance. Flood insurance rates are super high. There's no longer, I don't know what you would call it, but it used to be if you were in flood zone X, everybody had the same rate. Not the case anymore. A Melbourne beach home in flood zone X is $6,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll have to see, because last year that was what the damage was. Everyone keeps saying, there were so many claims last year, but there wasn't. There was flood claims. Flood
Yeah.
is what ultimately was a lot of the damage last year. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening this year if there's more flood claims, because all these people with citizens that have to have flood, or they're now in a flood zone, they didn't
it's gonna
have that
even make
before.
it more expensive. So
Yeah.
and maybe a reason not to choose Citizens, because if it's Melbourne
Right.
Beach, not in a flood zone, and it's $6,000 for a policy,
Right.
you're not going to go with Citizens with them. I was actually like, after how long I had been doing insurance, looking up properties if they're in flood zones. I had no clue that they actually determine the flood zones based off of claims.
Yeah.
So it's not actual, I mean, obviously if there's claims, an act happened there, but it's based off the number of claims in a certain area. And how often do they update that?
That I don't know.
The last time they did was 21.
Like,
Yeah, I remember after 21 is
Yeah.
when they updated it. It was like, oh, we had to like check everything, and it
Yeah.
changed a lot.
everyone's zones changed, and they're now doing all the elevation measuring with satellites. So we don't need the certificates anymore.
Oh yeah, I haven't had to ask for a certificate in forever.
Yeah.
You're right. I just now
It's
realized
really
that.
weird though, because like our house was left out of a flood zone.
Yeah,
My mom, who literally lives next door,
yeah,
is in a flood zone.
yeah.
So
Oh, I
she
see it
wasn't
where
too
it's
happy
even
about it.
even the shed in the backyard's covered. You're in a flood zone. It's not even touching the house. It's so weird
Yeah.
how that works. So that's funny. So as far as, do you think insurance, you're gonna feel like we're, besides flood, we should be seeing improvements in Florida?
We are right now. It's
Okay.
really gonna this hurricane season's gonna make or break it, I think.
Yeah, I think we're good though.
Hopefully,
Wait, positive.
hopefully we have a year where we don't get hit by one.
That'd be
So I feel
the
like
whole
it's
the
been
whole
like-
state, because that's another thing. Yes, our rates are affected by your zip code, but like if one carrier gets pummeled in like Pensacola, ultimately it's going to trickle down.
Yeah, it
like
affects
if
everybody
they
in Florida.
lose all their their money from a huge hit in one portion of the state, all those policyholders are going to feel that.
Yeah.
So it's like, can the whole state of Florida just take a chill pill?
I also do feel, not blaming Florida citizens, but most people, when you talk to them about getting a new roof, they're like, I'll wait for a storm.
Yes,
and
they
then,
do.
But they're claiming where, okay, it's a normal expense of home ownership that you're going to have to replace your roof. So
Yeah.
I do feel like it's almost like changing attitudes of,
That's that
you're gonna.
scheduled
That's
roof.
why we pay dearly, is because you're waiting for a storm to put in
Yeah.
your roof claim too.
Well, and that's why the carriers are implementing these scheduled roof things. It's like if you talk to a person and you say like, "Oh, the carrier is going to pay out on your roof based on how old the roof is,"
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, yeah, that makes sense. I got 10 years out of it. they should depreciate it by 10 years. So people kind of already think that's how it is, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's not. The carriers are actually replacing the entire roof when you're filing these claims. So you get 18 years out of your 2003 roof, or 2000. Let me do my math here. 2007 roof. Mm-hmm. You're getting a full roof replacement.
Yeah.
Even though you got 18 years out of it.
Yeah.
So now the carriers have kind of started to change that a little bit, and they're implementing these on their renewal policies, and they're saying, no, you got 10 years out of your roof. We're going to depreciate that payout because you got 10 years out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's honestly fair.
And that's how a lot of people feel until they're filing that claim and they think they're getting a roof, and then they're like, what? But I mean,
have to pay what?
Yeah. I mean, you're a homeowner. You're responsible for maintaining your home.
Yeah.
And I think people miss that boat a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's amazing too, even just being here and being in like when it's disaster, and like when FEMA comes in and it's like, oh, they're giving you $1,000 for your spoiled food, and it's like people who do not need it, like going and getting it, and it's like, I wish there was. I know it's hard, but just one of my pet peeves. All right, well, I always ask this last question to everybody who comes and chats with me. What would you tell your first day self as Ryan and Jordan today? And I'd like to hear from both of you on this.
You go first.
Okay. First day self?
Yeah.
It's going to be harder than what you think it will be, but let it rip. I would say, Jordan, you need to start earlier, not in year 2, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
But I would definitely say it's going to be harder than you think it will be, but like how you feel about yourself and what happens with it, you'll be more proud than what you think as well.
Oh, I love that.
I would say the biggest lesson I have taken, and what's probably changed my personality a lot over the last 9 years, is just set your feelings aside. Set your feelings aside. It is business. And if you're going into this expecting people to do for you or expecting anything in return, you're going to be flatly let down.
Yep.
At the end of the day, your whole focus needs to be on what can I do for others. Mm-hmm. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you can't be focusing on what I'm getting. It has to be about what you can do, what your value add is. If that's the focus, I honestly think you can't fail.
Yeah. I agree, and I love that. I actually heard that somewhere else, and I can't remember where I heard it, but you can't, or it's like the givers give, mentality of do things with no expectation back, but then people automatically are drawn to you because you come across as a genuine, caring person versus, that's me, because even when we're talking sales, like I don't approach anything in a sales perspective. I build relationships. I want to include people in my circle. If they send me business, because I like them. Yeah. Honestly, if they send me business, that's great, but I never set it with the expectation. I want to develop a relationship with you, so you do want to work with me, so you want to be in my circle, or, because I want to be in your circle. And I think that's super important of just, investing in people and not expecting anything in return for it. So that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Right. So do you guys want to add anything before we...
No, we're just grateful to work with you and be
here.
here.
Thank you for this.
I love
this
you guys.
is great.
I love you guys so much.
This is so cool.
All right, I love it. Well, thank you for joining me today, Ryan and Jordan. They are with the Altenhof Group with Goosehead Insurance. They are my number one referral partner when it comes to homeowners insurance. If you have any questions or need a policy, we will make sure we post their information where you can reach out to them anytime. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.